Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One here at Swayze Field, home of the Ole Miss Rebels, as you see them getting ready to play their first game of the regional. The number 4 seed nationally. Ole Miss coming off an SEC title run. That was impressive. St. Louis, the Billigans, coming out of the Atlantic 10 as we take a look at our bracket here at Ole Miss. They're getting ready to play here in just a couple of minutes. Tennessee Tech and Missouri State. That game wrapped up just a couple of hours ago. Tennessee Tech out on top 6-4. Well, the atmosphere here at Swayze Field, a couple of words to describe. There were fans waiting here at 4:30 a.m. waiting to get their seats in the general admission section. And you had, of course, the student section right now, which is absolutely packed. Forget about a sellout. Try over capacity. That's what we have here at Swayze Field. Welcome into our broadcast booth alongside former first overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft, Ben McDonald. I am Sam Ravitch. Thanks for joining us here. We got a great pitching matchup here today, but before we get to that, this Ole Miss team is coming off an SEC title run, which was very impressive considering the fact they lost the first game.
Yeah, they also won the Western Division of the SEC this year, too. It's been a complete turnaround season for Ole Miss. They missed postseason play all the way around last year. Not been the case this year. How have they done that? Well, it's been all about the offense. The offense has been incredible. They're hitting 50 points better as a team than what they did last year. 29 home runs more than what they did last year. That's resulted in 2.5 runs more per game than what they did last year.
All right, well, the guy that's going to try to stop him is Miller Hogan, the right-hander. It's been a great year for this Billiken staff, but Miller Hogan specifically has been on fire, Ben.
Yeah, you could make the case he's one of the top 5 starting pitchers in the entire country. He's had an incredible year. He's the A10 pitcher of the year. He's got 10 wins on the season with a 2.19 ERA. What I love about him, how about this? 12 walks the entire season, 129 punch-outs. That's an 11-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
His opponent tonight is going to be Ryan Rollison, the starting pitcher for Ole Miss. We will hear from the man himself on the other side of the break here on the SEC Network.
The NCAA Baseball Regionals is presented by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
I'm Ryan Rollison, and these are my pitches. I've got a 4-seam fastball, a 2-seam fastball, a changeup, and a slider.
All right, well, Ben, here's our man Ryan Rollison making his 16th start of this season. What's he got? I mean, he's been really impressive all year, but he's got some impressive pitches.
Well, he will hear his name called early in the first round here in just a few days. It's 90 to 94 from the left side. It's a 3-pitch mix. The slider is the difference maker. It is a big league slider, and I tell you what, he does something I love. He finishes hitters inside. He's not afraid to throw that 4-seam fastball in on the hands of the right-hander.
He's got that wipeout slider, too. That's one of his enormous pitches that he's been able to get outs and secure outs with. Of course, this Ole Miss team coming off of an impressive run in the SEC tournament. As we take a look at the lineup for St. Louis, you see at the top of that order, you see Kyle Fletcher, Alex King, Nick Reeser. But as we said, St. Louis is without one of its key players this weekend after the school suspended senior outfielder Parker Snitinsky for what it was termed as a violation of team rules. The suspension comes after the St. Louis Post-Dispatch reported on Tuesday that an assault after a female student alleged an assault her in January. The Post-Dispatch also reported that the school's Office of Student Responsibility and Community Standards has recommended Snitinsky be expelled. He is not on this trip, as the first pitch to Fletcher from Ryan Rollison is in there for strike 1. We are underway here. A beautiful day it has turned out to be after all of the rain that we endured here at Swayze Field yesterday. Not the case right now. Rollison into the line. The 0-1 chop back up the middle. Here's Kessinger. Throws across his body over to first for out number 1. And, Ben, it's good to see Greg Kessinger back in there after what it was a hamstring. It was questionable whether he was going to play in this game or not.
Yeah, the big question is Kessinger going to be able to move like he normally does? One of the top shortstops in the SEC gets tested that hamstring right away, has to come in and quickly delivers over with a strong, accurate throw to first base. So we'll keep an eye on Kessinger to see how he's moving with a tweaked hamstring.
Rollison's last start came in the SEC tournament against Auburn, earned a no decision after throwing 6 1/3 innings, allowed 2 earned runs on 3 hits, struck out 6 in that outing as well. Count is 1-0 to Alex King. There's that off-speed pitch right in there. Here's Darren Hendrickson in his 11th year as a St. Louis head coach. 365 career wins. That is the most in the Billikens program history. We got a chance to talk to him about his team. St. Louis has not won a playoff game yet. They've been here quite a few times. Have not won a regional game.
Well, he certainly has a good team to work with. It's a hot team, too. It's a team, of course, won 9 of its final 10 games of the season. One of the top weekend rotations in all of college baseball.
Little bit inside.
Well, that's what you're going to see Rollison do.
Yep.
He's going to pitch inside. He loves to throw across his body to his glove side and finish on the opposite side and pound right-handers on the inside part of the plate.
Alex King, A-10 all-conference first team, first in the conference with 14 home runs. And that's ball 4 from Rollison. One-out walk will bring up Nick Reeser, playing first base, batting third for this Billiken team. Coming out of the A-10, the Billikens 38-18 overall, 19-4 in the A-10. Coming down south to take on the king of the SEC this year. This ball lined down the left field line. That's going to get down and couple hop to the wall. Rounding second, heading for third is King. He's being waved around towards throw. Here's the throw at the plate. Sliding in safe. And St. Louis on the board 1-0 here in the first. An RBI double from Nick Reeser puts the Billikens up here early.
Reeser came up first ball, fastball hunting. Boy, he got one up in middle of the plate and didn't miss it. Finds the barrel down the left field line. Dillard quickly gets to it, relays it in, but a great jump by Alex King all the way from first base and just in front of the throw, and the Billikens on the scoreboard first.
12th double of the year for Nick Reeser. And just like that, the Ole Miss Rebels is going to have to work from behind here. First pitch to Jake Gorella is fouled off and into the net.
And I think that's going to be the approach for St. Louis is hunt the first fastball you get, because when Rollison gets that breaking ball going, it is a big league breaking ball. When he gets it going, he can make you swing and miss a lot, as he's shown that this year. 107 strikeouts in only 90 innings pitched, one of the top strikeout guys in the entire SEC.
A look back at second, a curveball is fouled off, and it's 0-2. Here's head coach Mike Bianco, 18th season as the Ole Miss head coach, 16th NCAA regional. You mentioned it, Ben, last year was a tough year for this Rebel team. Now coach has got him back on track, it seems.
Well, that freshman class, that's the #1 recruiting class, came in last year. There were a lot of freshmen he played. Well, they didn't have a great year, but they grew up a lot this year.
Head coach Mike Bianco, the winningest and longest tenured SEC coach across 3 major sports, has now reached the NCAA tournament in 16 of his last 18 years, as we said, including that 2014 College World Series run that this Rebel team made.
Went to the College World Series with Ole Miss back in 2014, and they're trying to get back there again.
0-2, a bit high at 92 miles an hour out of the hand of Rollison.
And these first innings are tough. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I mean, you got an electric environment here. You know, and what you have in the bullpen as a starting pitcher doesn't necessarily translate to the game mound and when the batter steps in the box, because you just can't duplicate the energy that you get when the game starts. And right now, Rollison's just kind of feeling his way through this first inning, trying to figure out what's working for him.
And Gorella working a tough at-bat against Rollison here early on. Gorella, coming out of the A-10, ranked first in batting average with a .362 average, first in hits with 80, was an A-10 all-conference first team at the end of the year. You got a 1-ball, 2-strike count now, trying to get a runner in scoring position. St. Louis up 1-0 here early on after an RBI double from Nick Reeser. There's that slider in the dirt. Seventh pitch of the at-bat now. Rollison trying to finish off his opponent, Gorella. Two balls, 2 strikes. There it is. 93 up in the zone. And Rollison with his first strikeout of the day.
Well, Rollison can punch you out with that fastball, too, because from the left side, it's certainly above average. If you start looking for that wipeout slider, he's got plenty upstairs, and he can blow 93 right by you.
So on the 8th pitch of the at-bat, Rollison finally secures out number 2. Here's Carter Hanford, a .261 average, 7 home runs on the year. Majoring in mathematics, something Ben nor did I major in college. Slider missing low to Hanford for ball 1. Hanford 5th in the A-10 and doubles 17. Playing third base today for the Billikens. Take a look at this crowd here. It is impressive to see how many fans have filed in over the past couple of hours into Swayze Field. Some here early as 4:30 in the morning. Some dedicated fans down here in Oxford, no doubt about that. 1 ball, 1 strike. Called strike 2 on the outside corner, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's starting to get a feel for that breaking ball, because it's 2 different ones. He's one he'll kind of dump in there for a get-me-over kind of strike 1 breaking ball. Then he has what we call the extra breaking ball. That's the one he's going to finish you with, strike you out with.
Went upstairs on him again. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rollison. Let's take a look at that one again.
Ryan Rollison struggled a little bit with his command early. Gave up a run here in the first inning, but against Gorella and then against Hanford, finishes high in the zone with 94. But the Billikens put the first run on the board. Going to the bottom of the first, it's the Billikens 1-0 over Ole Miss.
Miller Hogan from Overland Park, Kansas, starting pitcher for the Billikens. I throw a 4-seam fastball, a sinker, a split change, a slider, and a curveball. Looking forward to get going on Friday night.
Well, he's going to get going with a 1-0 lead. Miller Hogan, 16th start of the year, 10 wins on the year, Ben. What are we going to see from the right-hander?
Well, you see that fastball. It's a plus fastball, 90 to 94, but it's a real 4-pitch mix, meaning he can throw any of those 4 pitches pretty much at any time he wants to. The slider is probably the best swing and miss pitch that he has, but command is what jumps at you. Doesn't walk people, doesn't normally beat himself.
Gray Kessinger for the Rebels will start it off, and the first pitch a little bit inside for ball 1. Kessinger from, of course, right here in Oxford, grandson of Don Kessinger, a 6-time MLB All-Star, All-American shortstop at Ole Miss. Of course, the Ole Miss head coach from 1991 to 96. Kessinger following in the footsteps and doing a pretty good job at that. 6 home runs last 24 games. I'll take a call at strike 1 on the outside corner.
There's Don Kessinger, baseball, basketball, All-American here at Ole Miss. Oh, what an athlete he was.
My broadcast partner, Ben McDonald, knows a little bit of something about that. All-American, 2 sports in LSU. Playing 2 sports is hard enough, and what Don has done, and then Gray now, his grandson here, doing a great job at shortstop. And he's here at a lot of games, Don is.
Oh, he doesn't miss a game. Love to watch his grandson play, and why wouldn't you? And what a year he has had. Boy, a turnaround year, too. Kessinger hit 175 in everyday action last year. He's hitting 304 this year for the Rebels.
What do you think the biggest change is for Kessinger now this year?
Well, you know, as we look at this Ole Miss team, I mean, it's not just Kessinger. If you look at Dillard and what Dillard's done, Zabowski, Ryan Rollinson, all those was part of that #1 recruiting class that Mike Bianco brought in here, you know, 2 years ago. Well, they've grown up. You know, if you talk about the hitters, you know, you get 200 or so at bats in the regular season. You go play summer ball, you get another 100 at bats. I think they've just seen enough pitching. They've grown up a little bit, and it's just an experience factor more than it is anything.
Kessinger holds up on off speed, and it's going to be a full count.
And that's a big difference. I mean, last year he probably would have swung at that pitch, struck out a good bit last year, but you start to see quality pitching. You see SEC pitching every weekend and better pitching along the way, and all of a sudden you start to adapt to it. And I think that's exactly what Kessinger's done, Dillard's done, Zabowski's done, and that's why Ole Miss improved some 50 points on their team batting average from last year to this year.
Hogan shakes off his catcher Morisano. Now comes set, and the payoff pitch. Got him. One batter, one strikeout for Miller Hogan. Take a look at that one again.
Well, we talked about Miller Hogan can throw any of his 4 pitches in just about any count. So it's all fastballs to Gray Kessinger. Then he gets a 3-2 count. You think fastball is coming again, and guess what? There's the first breaking ball of the day.
Kessinger well out in front of that one. Here's Ryan Olenek now, the right fielder. Out of Winter Park, Florida, 6'5", 180. Junior's had quite a good season so far, 359 batting average. They'll take ball one low. First team All SEC. That's impressive in and of itself. Off speed. Olenek lays off. It's 2-0.
Yeah, Olenek's a guy that played shortstop in high school. Comes Ole Miss, he gets in the outfield, but when Keenan got hurt, you know, a week or two ago at Ole Miss at third base, Olenek came in from the outfield, fielded at third base, did a wonderful job. Keenan's back, and Olenek's back out in right field.
Yep, first game back in right field in the last 4 games. It's been at third base.
Moves really well. I mean, talk about athlete footwork. I mean, 6'5", but the feet work.
That 359 batting average ranks him 3rd in the SEC. 3-0 from Hogan. Fastball at 93, right there. And Miller Hogan, the A-10 pitcher of the year, ranks in top 10 in the nation strike to walkout ratio. 6 with 10 wins on the year. Olenek will take a walk as we take a look at the Ole Miss Rebel lineup. You see Gray Kessinger back in there. You also see Tyler Keenan back in there. So it would appear, Ben, that this team is starting to get a little bit of their health back.
Yeah, I mean, it was an offense that was really good all year long. Matter of fact, it's the only offense in the SEC that had a team batting average over 300. That's how good they were. And, of course, to get Keenan back in there, that's a big boost at the bottom part of that lineup. And it's impressive when your 7- and 8-hole hitters are hitting 314 and 327, respectively.
Here's a ground ball over to short. Backhanded by King. Go to second with it. It'll be bobbled there. And he's still out. It was on the transfer. Dubette had some trouble getting this ball out of his glove, trying to turn 2.
Yeah, nice firm feed from King, and you can see right there on the transfer from glove to throwing hand. And there are no replays in the NCAA regionals. I know you're used to seeing a lot of that in the regular season, especially over in the SEC, but in regional action, there are no replays.
That will be back for Supers as well. That'll be Thomas Dillard now. That ball bounced in front of home plate. Throw down to second. The tag is applied. Good throw by Morisano. They caught Fortes going, thought it might have been a little bit further out in front of home plate. Not the case.
Marsano picks his ball, and I mean throws a dart down to end the inning for Ole Miss, and there is the tag.
Well, for more coverage of the Division I baseball regionals and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. That's ncaa.com. Take a look at the Ole Miss faithful here at Swayze Field, a packed house to watch their SEC championship team Rebels take on the St. Louis Billikens here in Game 1 of their regional. We already had Game 1 earlier on today. The winner of this game will play Tennessee Tech. And the first pitch from Ryan Rollison is a little bit low for ball 1. Catcher James Morisano just made a great defensive play and a throw down to second to end the first inning. Now at the plate.
Yeah, Morisano blocked that ball and picked it up quickly. It was a good read by Fortes for Ole Miss. The catcher, he took off as soon as he saw the ball bounce. But Morisano was too good. He picked it up and threw a dart down. It ended the bottom of the first inning.
Rollison with the 2-0. This ball lined down the left field line. It hits off the wall. Here comes the throw into second base. The tag, and he's out. What a throw by Dillard out in left field to get Morisano trying to leg out a double. That ball was hit on an absolute line down the left field line, Ben.
Yeah, just a dart. I mean, first ball, again, hunting that fastball. And I really think Morisano right there, you see him leave the box, he thought, watch him. He thinks this ball's gone, so he wasn't running full speed, and it cost him a lead-off double. What a throw by Dillard, the left fielder, all the way in, one hop. And how about the pick by the second baseman, Adams, and you're out. Get out of the box and run.
Here's Cole Dubett now. He'll take ball 1. That ball was an absolute laser down the left field line.
Yeah. I mean, he thought he had it.
Popped up, foul territory. This one is going to get into the seats.
Watch Morisano leave the box. See, right there, he thinks it's going. He's kind of high-stepping it. He realizes just about then that he has to get up and go. Well, guess what? It was too late. Nice throw, nice pick. First out of the inning.
1-1's high, ball 2. Either way, you need a great throw from Dillard out there. Fielded it cleanly, and he got it in as quick as possible.
That's something Dillard has done a lot better job this year than what he was last year. Very average in the field last year was Dillard, but much better this year.
Cole Dubett had a pretty good A-10 tournament. Had a 4-hit game versus Davidson. They'll take ball 4 up and away. So Rollison has now walked 2 batters, and head coach Mike Bianco is going to go out and have a word with his starter.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a mechanical adjustment. You know, Rollison went through a little bit of a spurt during the middle of the season where mechanics weren't quite as good. He was throwing across his body a little bit, and it cost him some command of the fastball and breaking ball. And I think that's what this might be about, is, hey, let's get back to attacking the strike zone. This is what I see. Let's try to correct it. Let's move forward.
All right, so here's the pitches that we heard Ryan Rollison threw from himself.
Yeah, I mean, everything comes out of the same arm slot. You see the arm slot there. There's the fastball, 90-94. The breaking ball is a really good one. We told you about that. Keep an eye on it tonight. And then he has a changeup that's really improving. He'll throw it a lot to the right-handers, and he will be a first-round draft pick in just a couple of days. Scouts really love the draftable sophomore.
The meeting on the mound is done, and you were saying it, Ben, too. Rollison gets plenty of strikeout lookings, too. As much as he does getting a lot of swing and misses, he'll He'll fool a couple batters out there.
Well, what happens to a lot of college hitters is when you get 2 strikes on you, you're taught to wait a little bit. Let's wait and see the ball a little deeper. Well, Rolison has that plus fastball that he will paint right on the inside part of the plate.
There's strike 1 to Ryan Hernandez, batting .217 on the year. Ten of his 26 hits have gone for extra bases in this 2018 season. This ball driven down the right field line, leaking foul. Ryan Rolison creeping up on 30 pitches now in the top of the second inning. And Hernandez laces another one down the right field line, leaking foul. That had home run distance on it. Just a bit to the right of the foul pole down the 330 line.
Yeah, that was impressive. He just kind of reached up, barreled up a fastball that was kind of up and away.
Here comes the 0-2 again.
See Nick Fortes had set up on the outside. That's how you can tell if a pitcher's really on his game. If you want to know, just watch the catcher. Watch where the catcher sets up, watch where the glove is, and then see how close Rolison can come to hitting that spot.
1-2 now. Swing and a miss there on that put-out slider from Rolison, and there's 2 gone.
Well, that's what he can do to you. Because he throws inside enough, he speeds that bat up, and then he'll start this what a ball looks like a fastball on the inside part of the plate, but the spin is so tight and hitters can't pick up the spin. It looks like a fastball. You go to get it as a hitter, and boy, the last 3 or 4 feet, it just falls out. Rolison, number 2 in the SEC in total strikeouts this year, only behind Casey Mize, who will probably be the number 1 pick in the country this year.
Here's Aaron Case now. 6-foot senior out of Orange, California. .245 batting average, and this being Oxford, Mississippi, a small town. A lot of us are actually staying in the same hotel, and I had the pleasure of meeting Aaron Case's parents. Runner goes to second. Here's a throw down, not in time. Fortes with a dart down to second. Dubett slid right under the tag. It was awfully close.
Well, Dubett got a great jump. When you're still against a left-hander, you're still on first movement. So as soon as Rolison picked up his leg, Dubett was going. I tell you what, he stole that one on Rolison. There's the tag. See, the tag's around the waist area, and I think Dubett might have got that left hand in there first.
8th stolen base of the year for Cole Dubett. One to Case. Called strike 2 at the knees. Good pitch there from Rolison.
Yeah, and St. Louis, not a great running team. 54 stolen bases on the year. That's 7th best in the A-10 conference. But certainly a big steal right there by Dubett to get into scoring position with 2 out.
One ball, 2 strikes to Case. Line back up the middle. That's a base hit. Dubett rounding third. He's heading for home, and the throw will be cut off on the mound. St. Louis takes a 2-0 lead over Ole Miss.
Well, how big was the stolen base now? You don't have to do it often to be effective. It's at the right time, and boy, you steal second base on the very next pitch. Just a line drive right back up the middle. You can see the center fielder Golson comes in as quick as he can. This ball left center cut of the plate and came right back at Rolison. Oh, and the Billikens push home another run, 2-0 here in the second inning.
Ben, you were talking about it in the first game, how walks come around to hurt you. Both of Rollison's walks so far today have come in to score. First pitch to Kyle Fletcher, the leadoff man, is in there for strike 1.
Well, you didn't know how the Billikens were going to adapt to this situation, this environment, but I tell you what, they've come in not intimidated at all.
They're going to check on the runner in case he's picked off, and the tag applied. So that will help Rollison indeed. 2 runs come across to score. St. Louis up 2-0 on the Revs.
It would be awesome to play in Omaha. I mean, that's one of the things you aspire to do when you get to campus. I mean, every team at the beginning of the year talks about getting to Omaha. So to get there would be an amazing feat.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Here is the man, Thomas Dillard, to lead it off for the Ole Miss Rebs. Here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, they trail 2-0 to St. Louis. First pitch from Miller Hogan in there for strike 1. Dillard ranks first in the SEC, as we just saw, 64 runs, 2nd in walks with 46. Speed as well, 17 stolen bases.
Yeah, another one of those freshmen. Obviously, he's a sophomore this year, but he has grown up. Look at the numbers last year. He hit .206, 4 homers, and 12 RBIs for Thomas Dillard. And how about this year? .309, 13 long ones, and 56 RBIs.
Has hit safely in 14 of his last 17 games. Grounded over towards third base, bobbled by Hanford. He won't have a play. He's going to hear it from this Ole Miss crowd.
Yeah, the ship was on, and everybody had Dillard swung over a little bit. Just a routine ground ball right to the third baseman, and hits in his glove and pops out. And that's something a little bit of a concern for the Billikens. I mean, fielding percentage .974, not great. And they're going to have to make all the plays because Ole Miss offensively is really good this year. I know Hogan's on the mound, but when you give a team like Ole Miss extra opportunities, lots of times they'll make you pay for it.
Hanford's 11th career error as the first pitch to Cole Zabowski's fouled back. Zabowski, the only Rebel on the SEC all-defensive team. Just 4 errors in 357 chances this year. Carries a good bat as well. .308 batting average, 9 home runs, 39 RBI.
Keep an eye on Thomas Dillard at first base. You mentioned it. He's a big guy, but he's sneaky fast over there. If you look at the stolen bases on the year for Dillard, 17 bags and 20 opportunities.
I'll check on him over at first. We saw a throw earlier on in the first from Morisano. See if Dillard tries to test him. Does not. This ball laced out to deep center field. Going back is Case at the wall. It's gone. Cole Zabowski ties it up on his 10th home run of the year.
Well, we talked about the difference in Ole Miss this year. Not only batting average, but long balls, too. Now 30 more home runs off this 2-run shot by Zabowski than what Ole Miss hit last year, and it's been a difference maker. And the big fella, 6'5", 225-pound left-hander, deposits one to left center for a 2-run shot.
That is deep, deep out to center field, just to the left of the batter's eye.
Well, we talked about the extra opportunities. I mean, there's your error, there's your 2-run shot.
That's a big boy home run for Zabowski. A swing and a miss from Will Golston. It's 0-2.
Yeah, because there's 0 wind today. Pretty still. The flag out in left center field, not even hardly moving. So that was not wind aided, not even a little bit.
So the Rebels tie it up here in the bottom of the second on a 2-run home run off the bat of Cole Zabowski. And this crowd came to insane life at Swayze Field.
Well, this is one of the best college baseball environments in all the country.
That ball roped right back at Hogan. Throw to first. That gets into right field. We got a lot of action here. Head coach Mike Bianco's coming out to try and see if there was an interference over at first base. It appears as if Hogan is okay. That ball was lined right back at him. I think he got a glove up there. You see head coach Mike Bianco having a word.
Yeah, that looked like a line drive right back at Miller Hogan, and I think he got glove on it. Of course, Mike Bianco's arguing the ball got by, and when it did, Reeser over at first base might have held on to Golson just a little bit. Boy, that is as scary as it gets right there. Hogan, an outstanding athlete. He's able to get the glove up just in time to knock that ball down, and it's a foot race to the ball. Watch this.
Oh,
I mean, it did hit him a little bit. It ricocheted off the glove for the most part and then got him. Then the play happened over at first base. The first baseman, Reeser, and it looked like Will Golson kind of got tangled up over there a little bit. Golson was not able to advance.
here's Golson going down to first base. And after the throw, you can catch it right here. I don't know about that, Ben.
I don't either. Well, Golson never touched first base, and that's probably why. It looked like to me he never touched first base. He stepped over the top of it, which tells me now why he did not go towards second base. He wanted to make sure he came back and touched the bag. But I didn't see any interference at all.
I didn't either. I think it looked a little bit questionable.
Well, the throw took Reeser, the first baseman, into the line.
All right, so now head coach Darren Hendrickson for St. Louis is going to go out to, of course, check on his pitcher.
Well, that just to calm him down a little bit. And again, we talked about hitting the reset button. Been a tough inning. You get a routine ground ball. It should have been out number one. You don't get it. You make a mistake. And Zabowski hits one about 420 feet to left center field. And there's a ball right back at your head.
Ben, I'm sure over your career you've had a ball come right back at you. What does that do for a pitcher on the mound? Did it shake you up at all? Or?
Well, it can, and you got to remember you're only 60 feet 6 inches when you start. By the time you deliver a baseball, you're probably 52 feet, from home plate. So that's why it's so important to be in a pretty good fielding position with your glove. And I tell you what, Hogan did a great job of getting the glove by his chest and up to his face to protect himself a little bit. But yeah, I mean, what's even scarier is where you never see it and you just hear it go by your ear. That's even scarier. Turn around and look and it's in center field for a base hit.
Tyler Keenan now. Freshman on this Ole Miss team out of Clayton, North Carolina, 6'3", 235. Throw back to first base to check on Golson. Keenan was another one of those guys that struggling a bit with an injury, missed the final 4 games of the SEC tournament, injured his wrist during batting practice, but appears to be good to go here in the opener of the regional.
Yeah, what a outstanding year he has had for a true freshman. You look at those numbers, 314, 8 homers, 36 RBIs, and another large body over at third base.
No balls, 1 strike to Keenan. All knotted 2-2 here in the bottom of the second.
Pretty good breaking ball right there. You see the catcher Morisano tries to frame it and pull it right back over the inside corner. But Miller Hogan didn't get the call.
Hogan paying a lot of attention to Will Golson over at first base. Called strike 2 at the knees to Keenan. Hogan set the 1-2. Grounded over towards second base. Fielded, flipped to second. Back to first. It's high. Nearly turned 2 there. Dubett to King. And then the relay over to first. Well, we will hand it off to Clemson and Vanderbilt over on the SEC network. We will be heading to ESPN 3. Clemson Vandy on SEC will be on E3. One out here in the bottom of the second inning. All tied 2-2. Chase Cockrell now. First pitch from Hogan, off speed in the inside corner. Chase Cockrell, a junior, 327 batting average on the year, 9 home runs, 37 RBI.
There's that good slider we talked about for Hogan. Been a rough inning. Play should have been made. Leadoff batter of the inning. That's a double play that probably should have been turned, but wasn't a very smooth feed or smooth turn in the middle infield. And Ole Miss again, extra opportunities.
Cockrell lays off that off speed for ball 1. Chase much improved after his 2017 sophomore campaign. Batted .239 as a sophomore with more strikeouts than total bases. 27 strikeouts and 25 total bases. Fouls that one off in the net. But when you look at the improvement this year, Ben, you were saying it, this whole team has kind of gotten together and said, all right, we got to play better. And they have done just that.
Well, you know, Ole Miss has always had a strong pitching staff. They did last year, and they've really been good on defense, too, just like last year. But, you know, when you make a turn from worst in the SEC, out of 14 teams, they had the lowest batting average in the SEC to the highest batting average this year. It's a huge turnaround.
1-2 lined out to left center field. That's going to get down and hit the gap. Rounding second, heading for third is Golson. He's being waved around home. The throw is off the mark. Golson slides in, and Ole Miss on top 3-2. RBI double for Chase Cockrell, the DH. Ole Miss has scored 3 runs in this frame to take the lead away from St. Louis.
Extra opportunities. That's what it boils down to. A double play that should have been turned, it wasn't. An error of the first batter, and all of a sudden Ole Miss is making you pay for it like they have done to everybody this year that's given them extra chances.
"19 pitches in this inning for Hogan. Now it's the junior Jacob Adams trying to keep the ball rolling. Still only 1 out. Good pitch there from Hogan, right at the knees to Adams. Now, Miller Hogan was a guy who, as you said it, Ben, struck out plenty of batters this year. Single season record of 120. That was a record that was set back in 1965 by John Markham.
Tell you how good he's been. And not just him, that entire pitching staff, that weekend rotation for the Billikens, a strong one. And it's been a big improvement. I mean, the batting average is about the same as it was last year. Home runs about the same, but the ERA department for the Billikens, almost a run per game better this year than what they were last year.
The big swing and a miss on an off speed from Hogan. We'll get a chance to get Drew Ravino on the headset, who will start later on for the Billikens. Talk to him about how his buddy is doing. These guys, the 3 starters for this team, are all so close. Very tight-knit group. They win a lot of games. Trailing here, though, 3-2. Ole Miss bouncing right back in this one as that one bounces in front of home plate. We saw it in our earlier game too, Ben, whether it was errors or walks, especially in playoff baseball, in the regionals, more often than not, they will come around to hurt you.
Yeah. I mean, you got to play clean baseball. And when you get to postseason play, the teams that play clean baseball are the teams that are always in a ball game.
Grounded up the first base line. That's fair. It'll roll all the way to the corner. Scoring easily is Cockrell. Rounding second, heading for third is Adams, and he will be there standing. Four to 2 now, Ole Miss.
Well, this #1 offense in the SEC is showing up now. There's a fastball up, out, over the plate, and I mean, it is barreled up down past a diving Reeser, and once it got in the corner, there was no doubt Cockrell was going to score. The only question was, how far would Adams get? And the answer to that question is all the way to third base, and Ole Miss with a big crooked number here in the bottom of the second inning.
That is Jacob Adams' first triple of the season, coming in a big, big spot as Ole Miss putting up a 4 spot right now in the second. Still 1 out. Adams on third. Top of the order in Gray Kessinger now, and time will be called. We saw Darren Henderson trying to figure out what to do here. Ole Miss firing right back. There's a good pitch right there. Kessinger fooled by that one from Hogan.
Yeah, Hogan has shown you the kind of stuff that make you believe the numbers. There's no doubt about it. But I tell you what, the few misses he has had, Ole Miss has made them pay for it. I mean, when he's left the ball up, out, over the plate, it has gotten hammered so far tonight.
Now, Ben, with that triple, Ole Miss has indeed hit for the cycle in this inning.
Wow.
Called strike 2. Rebel faithful don't love it. And head coach Mike Bianco is going to go out and have a word with his man, Greg Kessinger. What do you think this conversation's about?
I think he's waiting for the home plate umpire to come on over, and if he does, he might give him a little piece of his mind, but I think that was what that was about. An offensive conference. Just head coach Mike Bianco's way of saying, hey, you missed that one. It was down.
Dan Payne, the home plate umpire for today's game. Scott Latendre over at first. Scott Wilkerson at second. Ramon Amendirez is at third. And St. Louis is going to bring the infield in. Now with 1 out and an 0-2 count to Kessinger. A long wait to throw the next pitch here. Hogan set. Foul tipped into the glove of Morisano.
Well, there's the difference maker. Talked about the slider, and one reason why Miller Hogan had 129 punch-outs coming in. And I'm going to tell you what, can't do it any better than that. Looks like a 4-seam fastball on the outside part of the plate. You go to get it as a hitter, and it's gone.
So Kessinger 0 for 2 today with 2 strikeouts. Ryan Olenek now walked his first at bat. They'll take a first pitch strike on the inside corner. Olenek And despite that, 359 batting average has actually struggled a bit in his last 12 games, 8 for 45. That's a 178 batting average, trying to turn some things around here. Oh, 1 pitch to Olenek. Fisted foul out of play.
Yeah, Olenek was hitting well over 400 there for the longest part of the season. But you go and look in SEC games only this year, he did hit over 400. He hit 404 in 30 conference games. That led the SEC in conference games only.
Miller Hogan trying to get out of this frame. Olenek battling pitches off. Now up to 44 for Miller Hogan.
And that was a good pitch. You can see the catcher Morisano wanted that ball up, letter high, and that's exactly where it was delivered. So changing the eye level just a little bit. Probably go back to the breaking ball now. Unless he goes over another fastball up in the zone. Yeah, Morisano wants it up. Again, that's where it's delivered.
He fists this one down the right field line. That touches the chalk. 1 run will score. And an RBI double for Ryan Olenek. It is now 5-2 Ole Miss. Just got a piece of the chalk there. Jacob Adams scores easily from third.
Yeah, look at Morisano. He says, give it to me up here. That's exactly where it's delivered. And I tell you, Olenek just too good. Inside outs this ball, and you can see lands right on the chalk line. And he is pumped up. Sometimes you hate to do it as a pitcher. You got to tip your hat sometimes. I mean, Hogan executed his game plan perfectly, got the fastball kind of up and in, but Olenek was just better.
Nick Fortes now. If Fortes can get on, it would be Thomas Dillard due up. That would mean Ole Miss bats around in this inning, but Miller Hogan trying to keep that from happening here. Good pitch. (5-2) score Ole Miss. All 5 runs in this inning. Olenek on second. Fortes grounded into a fielder's choice last time he was up. And he grounds one sharply over towards short, backhanded by King. Won't have a throw, they'll throw behind him. They got Olenek in a rundown, and the ball gets into left field. A throwing error by the catcher Morisano, and the wheels are coming off here for St. Louis. It is 6-2 Ole Miss.
Well, the lug nuts have gotten loose and the wheels are really starting to come off. I mean, so the shortstop King kind of bobbles this, but he realizes Olenek is going to round the bag big time at third base, but he makes a base running error. Then it's what should be an easy out and not a great throw by the catcher Morisano. The third baseman Hanford can't glove it. And there's the 6th run of the inning. And there's only 2 errors on the scoreboard in this inning, but it very well could be about 4.
Thomas Dillard now. Ole Miss has indeed batted around in the order in this frame. And the Billikens kicking it and throwing it all over the field. Not helping out their ace right now. Dillard started off the inning reaching on an error by the third baseman Hanford. He would come around to score. And a 2-run home run by Zabowski. That would tie it up, and from then on, it was single, double, triple, double. Two outs. Off speed, paints the outside corner.
That was a change up, and Thomas Dillard thought that ball was up and away.
One ball, 2 strikes now to Dillard. Hogan trying to get out of the inning.
Yeah, and a long inning it has been for Miller Hogan.
Now, you mentioned it, Ben. This is a guy that has pitched in the A-10. You play a couple of non-conference games, but you don't play in an atmosphere like this.
Well, it's just different, and he's not had his best stuff. And, of course, the defense behind him has not been great either. And you combine those things against an offense that's one of the best in the country, and it can be tough sledding.
Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Well, Ole Miss batted around in this inning. They also hit for the cycle. 6 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. 2-run home run for Cole Zabowski. 6-2 as we head to the 3rd. Ole Miss puts up 6 runs in the 2nd inning. As we see some of the fans here at Swayze Field was erupting a couple of minutes ago. Arguably one of the biggest fans of Ole Miss is not here at this game. A little boy, Henry Ulrich, who has a muscular dystrophy, has sent us a nice video, and a video that we would like to share with you.
Hello, my name is Henry. And this is my sister, Casey. Good luck to Ole Miss. Hope we hit some bombs. Go Reds! Woo!
I love that. I think Cole Zabowski heard him.
Cole Zabowski heard him. Now, if they do, however, make it to Omaha, Henry will be in attendance. So players on this baseball team for Ole Miss, of course, have a lot to play for, but when you have a guy like Henry cheering you on, it makes it all that much better. Ground ball over towards second base. Easy play for Adams, and there's out number 1.
Well, you got to think this is going to relax Rollinson just a little bit. Of course, down 2-0 before the bottom of the 2nd rolled around. His team goes up and puts a 6th spot up for him. So, if there's one thing that can help you find your rhythm more than anything, it's called a few runs behind you.
Alex King now. He takes a called strike on the inside corner. King walked his last time up, scored a run. Go ahead.
There, Rollinson gets that breaking ball inside for strike 1, then a 2-seamer down and away for strike 2.
Yeah. Ooh. Rollinson pitched 2 scoreless innings in that SEC championship game. Earned the win. Trying to carry some of that momentum back to Oxford. Rollinson was drafted by the Padres in the 37th round back in 2016. Of course, opted to go to Ole Miss and hits King right there. Said he needed a little bit more work and needs some work here.
Yeah, I mean, you get a hit 0-2, then you can't finish. You end up hitting the batter right on the back foot, so he tries to bury that slider down and in and just pulls it a little bit too far in.
All right, Nick Reeser now with 1 out.
There's the first changeup that we've seen, maybe the second one, but been mostly fastball breaking ball by Rollinson. Now he's trying to work in the changeup as well. And certainly when the breaking ball is not what it normally is, and you got to search for a third pitch, and that's kind of his third pitch is the changeup.
Reeser smacked that RBI double back in the first inning to get St. Louis on the board. How things have changed here. One for one today, a quick throw over towards first. We talked about it earlier, but plenty of players on these regional teams that are in Keith Law's mock draft 3.0. Casey Mize, of course, at the top, number one. He's pitching tonight against Army. Ryan Rollison checking in at the number 20 spot. And he would go to the Twins if Keith Law proves to be correct.
Yeah, an exciting time for guys like Rollinson right now. You know, you're in the playoffs, but in the back of your mind, there's a draft. And, you know, a lot of guys say, well, I don't think about it. Well, you know, you think about it. It's just part of it.
Well, how were you feeling during this time when you knew, I mean, you're getting drafted the next couple of days. You got to throw in the postseason. What was going through your mind?
Well, you just want it to be over with, really, because, I mean, you're trying to focus on, you know, an opportunity to go to the College World Series and win a College World Series. And so that's really where your focus is, but you can't help but to think about it a little bit. I remember just hoping it would finally get here and we could get it past us and we could just play baseball at that point.
This ball poked out to shallow right. Adams there to make the catch. Throw back to first. Not in time. Alex King was leaning a bit. Thought it might drop.
Yeah, good play all the way around. So Adams, the second baseman for Ole Miss. Watch this. Gets a good read. He's quickly back. I love the base running by King. He gets far enough in case it does fall in. He can get to the next base, which would have been second base. But if not, he can get back, and that's exactly what he did. He got the perfect lead.
Jake Garella now with 2 outs. He swings and misses at one of those sliders from Rollison. Now at 51 pitches. Top of the third, Ole Miss on top, 6-2. Good pitch right there at the knees to Garella.
Yeah, that was a mid-popper, 91 miles an hour.
One ball, 2 strikes. Rollison set. Here's the pitch. There it is. Slider, swing and a miss. Well, Miller Hogan is on the mound right now, but we're going to talk to this guy, Drew Ravino, who will be on the mound momentarily. Alongside Ben McDonald, I'm Sam Ravitch. Thanks for joining us here at Ole Miss. Swayze Field is bumping tonight, as it should be. 6-2, Ole Miss on top after scoring 6 runs in the second inning. Thanks in big part to this guy, Cole Zabowski, a 2-run home run. And the first pitch to Zabowski, check swing and a miss. We are now joined by head coach Darren Henderson. Coach, thanks for joining us here. You know, it was a tough inning for you guys in the second, but you got off to a great start.
Yeah, we did. We kind of took the crowd out of it for an inning, and you know, the initial excitement, and then we just could not get ourselves out of that inning. I mean, it was a little bit of everything. So tough deal here. You can't give them anything, and we gave them too many extra plays, extra outs, and that's what we talked about, and they made us pay.
Yeah, Coach, it seemed like everything that could have went wrong in that inning did go wrong. Of course, Ole Miss, as you know, is a good ball team, and when you give them extra opportunities, a lot of times they make you pay for it. But how do you kind of get your guys back and kind of hit the reset button after an inning like that when you give up 6? What do you tell them to kind of get them back on track?
Well, reset's a great word, Ben. I mean, that's what we got to do. We got to start over and continue to, you know, I felt like their guy just turned it up a notch there that inning, and, you know, we got to stick with our game plan. I thought Miller came out and did a good job, and we kind of abandoned it a little bit with our pitching plan. And, you know, like you said, you got to keep them focused and not let this one get away from us, because it can in a hurry, and that's the thing we got to avoid. So I feel like our hitters can hang in there, and I mean, it's a tough lefty, as you know, and we got to hang in there and not let it get away.
Coach Darren Hendrickson, the A-10 Coach of the Year. Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll let you get back to work.
Thanks, guys.
I thank Coach for joining us here in this one, a tough one. After St. Louis goes on top 2-0, then that big 6-run second inning.
Yeah, just a wonderful start. I mean, one in the first, one in the second for the Billikens. They take the crowd right out of this thing, and then disaster struck in the bottom of the second inning.
Miller Hogan got Golson right in the back there. That was his 10th hit batter of the year. Tyler Keenan now. Once this Ole Miss offense gets running a little bit, we've seen it plenty of times, even after in the SEC tournament, after they lose to Auburn that first game, the offense just started clicking. It started rolling pretty good.
Well, and that's what they've, surrounded their confidence with this year. I mean, the bullpen's as good as any bullpen in the country, and they can really pitch Parker Caracci down there. You got 3 real starters, but when your offense is that much better than what it was last year, it's a difference maker, and it gives everybody confidence to know that they can come back.
1 ball, 1 strike to Keenan. Check swing, he held up. It'll be ball 2.
And speaking of running, that's another part of their game that Ole Miss wasn't very good at last year. If you look at it, only 38 stolen bases last year. Well, they got 65 stolen bases this year. That's 3rd best in the SEC. So Ole Miss showing you they can beat you a lot of different ways this year that they couldn't beat you last year.
Big looping curveball there, swing and a miss for strike 2.
And I think that's going to be key for Miller Hogan right there, being able to pitch backwards a little bit. And what I mean by that is throw something other than a fastball in a fastball count. He did it really well there. 2-1 pitch, you think you're getting fastball, and he throws that breaking ball to even the count at 2-2.
Here comes the 61st pitch of the day from Hogan, outside, ball 3. Miller Hogan has had 7 or more strikeouts in all but 1 game and pitched at least 6 innings in every game this season.
Oh, he's been a horse. There is no doubt. He's been a real Friday night guy, a true ace.
3-2 runner takes off. It's fouled back off the mask of Morisano.
But it's just not been his sharpest outing so far. He's kind of feeling for it. And look, this is the time of year the innings start to accumulate on a pitcher. You're not quite as fresh as you were back in April, March. I mean, when you start to get around that 100-inning mark, he's a little over 100 innings. The arm's just not quite as fresh as it was before, and the ball didn't come out of your hand as well. And you combine that with some extra opportunities and some defensive plays, and it can be tough.
Well, this ball drilled out to deep center field. Case going back on the warning track, looking up. It's out of here. Tyler Keenan's 9th home run of the year, a 2-run shot, and the Rebels are up 8-2.
Well, the only true freshman in this Ole Miss lineup, out for a few games. Couldn't play third base, and we talked about how big he has been down in that 8-hole for Ole Miss. 6'3", 225-pounder. But boy, he gets a ball, center cut, middle slightly away, and he puts a barrel on it to straightaway center field, the biggest part of the ballpark, and leaves the yard with a 2-run tater. Two
2 home runs in the game now for the Rebels. One from Zabowski in the second inning. Now one from Keenan in the third. Chase Cockrell swings and misses at a couple of curveballs, 0-2. Ole Miss has expanded on their lead here in the third. Action starting to warm in the Billikens bullpen right now. Nobody throwing just yet. There's 3 pitches, 3 strikes from Hogan, all off speed. Good job to battle back after that home run.
Yeah, when Hogan's gotten ahead and he's made his pitches, he's had a lot of success. The amazing thing to me is that when he's made a mistake, and there's been a handful of them, boy, I tell you what, you talk about find the barrel.
Connor Lehman in the pen for St. Louis. Jacob Adams now with 2 outs. Lines this one into center field, right at Case. He backs up and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. Well, another inning, another home run for Ole Miss. A 2-run shot for Tyler Keenan puts Ole Miss up 8-2. This one right below the batter's eye in center field. Welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. 8-2 is our score. Rebels blowing the game open with another home run in the bottom of the third. Ryan Rollison back out on the mound. The first pitch strike to Carter Hanford. Rollison starting to get in a bit of a groove here. After allowing a run in the first, run in the second. Scoreless in the third, and back-to-back strikes now for Carter Hanford. Hanford struck out to end the first inning. He gets a piece of that one back out in front of home plate. And that'll be out number 1.
Well, when Rollison gets ahead, he can certainly finish you. And we talked about the slider. It's his best out pitch. You get ahead with 2 strikes, looks like a fastball coming in, and the bottom falls out of it. And Rollison shows you a little bit of athletic ability, too. He hustles to a ball that kicks off the catcher, Fortes, and gets the first out over at first base.
That's now back-to-back strikeouts for Rollison. Morisano will take a pitch outside at 92 miles an hour. So, Ben, he can, like you said, he can crank it up there to 92, 93. But then you also got to wait back on that off-speed stuff. Just makes it a lot tougher.
Well, that's what the scouts like about him. Like, again, it's a plus arm from the left side. It's only going to get better. Just 21 years old. I mean, you can see him, a 6'3" frame. He's going to project out, probably going to sit 94 one day, maybe 95. And he's going to, of course, continue to develop that changeup. The slider, that pitch right there is already a big league pitch. So big upside for Ryan Rollison. Got to remember now, he's just a sophomore. He's a draftable sophomore, meaning he's 21 years old. If you're 21 or finish your 3rd year to D1 school, you can be drafted. And Rollison is where he falls age-wise. So what I'm saying is there's not a ton of experience on the mound. I mean, so you're seeing a guy that's just going to get better the more innings he gets under his belt.
That's ball 4, a little bit high to Morisano. 3 walks on the outing for Ryan Rollison. Now keep in mind, we said earlier on, both of the walks that Rollison had dealt have come around to score. Now with 1 out, and Cole Dubett coming to the plate. Infield pinched a bit up the middle, looking for 2. Dubett was one of those walks to come around and score back in the second inning. Good pitch there from Rollison.
Well, Rollinson's got that fastball. You know, he's got enough where he can elevate it up out of the zone and get some swings and misses. A lot of guys that, you know, throw mid-80s can't really do that, but because he's a low 90s type arm, lots of times he can get away with that.
No balls, 2 strikes. Ball fouled off out of play. For Cole Dubett, one of those guys that you've seen improve throughout the course of his career as a Billiken. Batted .240 as a freshman, .274 as a sophomore, now .303 as a junior. That's what you like to see if you're a coach. Darren Hendrickson, gotta like to see that from your guys. Don't like to see that, though. Called strike 3 on the outside corner.
Well, Rollinson can strike you out a lot of ways. Looked like Fortes wanted that ball more inside, but it's more of a backdoor breaking ball. But again, those are those kinds you give up on as a hitter. You see it away, and it kind of comes around the plate or around the outside edge, and nothing you can do to restart that bat. The Dubett caught looking. Well, and I think, you know, when you talk about the experience factor, when you have 6 seniors in your lineup, and, you know, if you talk to head coach Darren Hendrickson, he'll tell you, you know, that's the key to our success. I mean, you got to keep guys around and coach them up for 2 or 3 years and have a veteran team, and that's what's happened to them this year. That's kind of been the recipe for success in college baseball over the years is veteran team. You see a lot of teams that have a lot of juniors and seniors. Those are the ones that typically are experienced enough to make late season runs.
Head coach Mike Bianco seeing that on full display with this Ole Miss Rebel team. A couple of players coming back, getting another year of experience. Boys that showing here in the opening game of their regional.
Well, you know, Ole Miss has got one of these big physical teams. You know, you don't see in college baseball a whole lot. I mean, look at Dillard, look at Zabowski, look at Keenan over at third base, Olenek, you know, at 6'5" out in right field. It's a physical team, and that's why the home runs are up. The offense is up.
Called strike to Ryan Hernandez. It'll be 2 balls, 1 strike. Hernandez struck out back in the 2nd inning. Six strikeouts on the evening for Rollison. We were saying it earlier too, Ben. That was the only strikeout looking was to Cole Dubett. All the other 5 have been swinging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not commanded his stuff quite as well as we've seen him at times this year. But, I mean, that's what you know as a starting pitcher. I know a third of the time I got my good stuff. Things are easy. I can just kind of roll through the lineup. You know, then a third of the time I'm going to have my average stuff, which is kind of what Rollison has tonight. And then a third of the time when you take the bump, you're going to have below average stuff. But still, the common factor in all that and what you learn as you get older is that I got to go out and compete, and I got to give my team a chance to win no matter what kind of stuff I have that particular day.
Well, Ryan Rollison has brought his A-game stuff here in the latter parts of these past couple of innings. See that one again.
Yeah, he's showing you something here. Elevates a fastball up his own. Ryan Rollison punches out the side. Ole Miss up 8-2 going to the top of the 4th.
I can't hear anybody.
Oh, Coach, you got us? Bottom of the 4th inning, 8-2, Ole Miss up. Hogan back out on the bump. And the first pitch low and away, ball 1. Ole Miss has been rolling the past couple of innings. 6 runs in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd.
Well, they're also getting ready to see Miller Hogan for the 3rd time. Greg Kessinger's getting the 3rd look. His first 2 looks have not been that good. You see the 2 strikeouts.
Hogan trying to find a rhythm. Ole Miss offense has not let him do that, and that will not be a good start. Oh, and they're saying that did not.
Well, home plate umpire Dan Payne's going to make him stay right there in the box. He felt like that Greg Kessinger stuck his elbow out there. And head coach Mike Bianco is not happy about it. You know, in the way they interpret the rule now, did the batter hit the ball or did the ball hit the batter? And basically what that means is, did he try to get hit by the ball? Doesn't mean you have to get out of the way. What it means is you cannot stick a knee or a foot or an elbow out there. Now, me looking at that, he didn't try to get out of the way of it, but he also did not stick the elbow out there. He just never moved the elbow. So if you interpret the rule that way, he should have got to take his base. But it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the home plate umpire thought. And Kessinger's back in the batter's box.
Some emphatic boos from the Swayze Field faithful. Hogan deals. That's high and in. And he'll hear some more boos there. But Kessinger jogging on down to first.
Yeah, and I promise you, Miller Hogan is not trying to hit anybody. This fastball, 3-1 fastball, just gets away, rides up and in on Kessinger.
Ryan Olenek now. RBI double back in the second. Walked back in the first. See how long the leash is going to be on Hogan here. A called strike to Olenek. Right-hander still warming in the pen for the Billikens. Feels if try to get Hogan through as much of this as you can, save your bullpen. Line back up the middle. That's a base hit for Olenek. He's got a double and a single today.
Well, Ryan Olenek is just a hit machine. I'm calling the blade because he looks like a blade out there at 6'5". And not a whole lot of weight to him, although he claims he gained 20 pounds. That might be the end of the line for Miller Hogan.
Head coach Darren Hendrickson going out to have a word with his starter. Hendrickson is his 11th year at St. Louis, A-10 Coach of the Year.
They're going to leave him. Look like they're going to leave him in. And he deserves it. Look, he's been the ace. He's been the guy all year long for him. I'd like to see him get a chance to kind of work out of this. But I also like your point, too, is that, hey, you want to get him to chew as much of the innings up as you can, because even if you lose the ball game, you got to have plenty of arms to try to fight your way back through a regional when you lose the first game.
Nick Fortes, 321 batting average on the year. Runners on first and second, and Ole Miss will not relent. Fortes just the second Rebel to earn SEC Tournament MVP, joining Mark Wright from the 2006 championship team. Fortes also singled back in the second. And it takes a called strike, even though Morisano drops the ball 0-2. That's been tough goings for Hogan today. You know, Ben, this is probably the biggest adversity that he's faced all season.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. He's worked at least 6 innings in every one of his starts this year. And he got off to a pretty good start. I mean, he kind of rolled through the first inning, but then, boy, just hit that wall. And it wasn't all his fault. If a couple plays are made behind him, they minimize the damage. It's not that big crooked number that you see up there, but the lug nuts got loose, the wheels came off, and there's the 6th spot, and Ole Miss just got all the confidence that they needed, and they've been on a roll ever since.
We're looking up some stats here. Fortes, of course, had a great SEC tournament. The 3rd player ever in SEC tournament championship history to record 4+ hits, was 4 for 4 in that tournament game. And he lines this one into right field for a base hit. Kessinger held up at 3rd base. A smart move. Why not? Nobody out. And with Kessinger, of course, coming back from that hamstring injury, don't want to push him anymore. Olenek up to 2nd. Bases juice for the ever so dangerous Thomas Dillard.
Well, it's just been impressive by Ole Miss, you know, and you go back and look, breaking ball was up to Olenek. He gets a base hit. Another breaking ball hung to Fortes. Ole Miss just not missing anything. They seem to find the barrel when pitchers make a mistake.
We're going to have a pitching change here. End of the line for Miller Hogan. St. Louis going to the pen. Ole Miss up 8-2. It's the end of the line for Miller Hogan. You see him getting some hugs from his teammates. Hernandez there, 3 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. It wasn't all his fault, though. A couple of errors made behind him. You see one there. Defense struggling, and then you get one right back at you. Throw it away. A couple of hard hit balls back up the middle. You see his shortstop there struggling with that. You throw behind him. You feel like you get him there. You feel like you got him.
Got to. That's got to be an out. Every time they make a mistake like that, it's got to be an out. But and don't forget, there was a double play in there that should have been turned. It wasn't. It all happened there in the 2nd inning. And so, yeah, while a lot of it was his fault, a lot of it wasn't his fault. It just kind of snowballed him as you take a look at the new pitcher for the Billikens.
Connor Lehman on the mound. 18 appearances, 3.40 ERA. And he's been another one of those workhorse pitchers out of the pen for St. Louis, 42 1/3. What do you expect to see from Lehman tonight, Ben?
Well, the fastball is going to be 88 to 92. He's got a curveball and a changeup as well. His changeup is probably his secondary pitch. He's the pitch he uses to get some swing and misses with. And it's his job to try to put out the fire, and it will not be easy. He's got to face probably the best hitter and most productive hitter in this Ole Miss lineup in Thomas Dillard with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Now, this game got out of control in the 2nd. It could get really out of control here. Still nobody out. First pitch to Dillard, tying away, ball 1.
Yeah, you come in these situations, there is no room for error. And what you think first is ground ball. Try to keep something down in the zone, and you'll gladly give up a run in this situation to turn 2 up the middle. And then if you get the 2 strikes in this situation, you may take a chance to try to get the big strike out. The first thing you got to do is get the 2 strikes.
Dillard 0 for 2 today. Reached on an error back in the 2nd, came around to score, then struck out to end that same inning as they batted around in the 2nd. You got Kessinger at 3rd, Olenek at 2nd, Fortes over at 1st.
Yeah, careful here. Fastball count, nowhere to put Dillard.
Dillard with 13 home runs on the year. And he skies one high into right center field. Going back on the warning track is Case, reaching up, and he makes the catch. Kessinger will tag from 3rd. That ball was about 3 feet from leaving this ballpark. And a sacrifice fly from Dillard makes it 9-2 Ole Miss.
Yeah, you talk about carry. I thought this ball was going to stop about the warning track, but it kept carrying and carrying. Because it was hit a mile in there, and you see the center fielder Case just kind of keep drifting, and all the way up against the wall where he finally caught it.
A long, loud out. Olenek up to third. Fortes stays where he is. They're going to check, make sure Olenek tagged up. He did. If you're Connor Lehman, I think you'll take that as opposed to the alternative of that ball leaving the park.
Oh, yeah. Now if he can get that ground ball, maybe turn a double play and maybe minimize the damage in this situation.
Nine to 2 Ole Miss here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Here's the 1-0. Well outside, ball 2. Now, Ben, you and Connor Lehman can relate here. Lehman's the tallest guy on this Billikens team at 6'7". And like you were talking about earlier with Dylan Coleman in the first game, it's tough to get those mechanics down if they're off just a bit when you're that tall.
Yeah, you can really be out 60 feet 6 inches later, which is the distance from the rubber to home plate. And it's just hard for tall guys to sync it up. It is a big advantage when you can.
This ball skied high down the left field line. Long run for King, the shortstop, makes the catch. Olenek's going to tag from third to play at the plate. He's out. Heads up play there. Well, the shortstop, Alex King, was able to get over there, make the catch, and then to throw home to save a run. Olenek nabbed at the plate. Ole Miss still up 9-2. Well, here's a look at some of our national headlines. Mississippi State, Ben and I were watching it earlier, a walk-off home run. Elijah McNamee, 3-run shot with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning to knock off Florida State. Casey Mize on the hill against Army. 4 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs. Auburn up 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th. SEC continues to roll. They are 9-1. Ole Miss trying to make it 10-1.
How about Florida State overall, number 7 national seed, 2 and barbecue.
Top 8 national seeds to go 0-2 in a regional. The number 7 Florida State team this year. Number 2 Florida in 2014. Number 5 Florida State in 2014. So Florida State has now done this a couple of years, not too far apart from each other. Now you saw that ball off the bat of McNamee. That had no shot of staying in the park.
2-strike changeup left up in the zone and a walk-off. Homer in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Mississippi State comes from behind to eliminate Mike Martin and the Florida State Seminoles. And another number 1 seed of regional host was at NC State that lost yesterday.
Case grounds this one over to third. Keenan across the diamond for out number 1. Well, the ESPN networks bring you every game on the road to Omaha, starting with regional coverage on ESPN2, ESPNU, Longhorn Network, the SEC Network, and here on ESPN3. Whip-around coverage is also available for ESPN3 and the Bases Loaded channel. All games are available on the ESPN app as Kyle Fletcher fouls the first pitch off out of play. Whether it's here in Oxford or elsewhere around the country, it is college baseball playoff time. We'll be all over your TV sets tomorrow. We got 3 games here in Oxford. High and in to Fletcher. And that hit him on the helmet. Must have got just a piece of that helmet on Fletcher. Take a look here. I just caught the brim, it looks like.
Wow.
It's amazing Fortes actually still caught it.
Well, that's what's so tough, lefty on lefty matchup, because as a hitter, if you're going to be effective as a hitter against a left-handed pitcher, you got to hang in there. You got to keep your front shoulders there. You got to keep your rear end right where it's at. And that's what's also gets you in trouble on a fastball up and in like that. You can really take a tough one.
Alex King with an 0-1 count. Rollison set. Rollison, that was the second hit batsman tonight. Only 4 hit by pitches in 90 in the third innings pitch before tonight. He's already got 2 tonight.
Yeah, I think Rollison's fighting a little bit of mechanical stuff too.
King stays alive, fights off that slider. You know, Rollison's at 81 pitches right now, trying to get him through 5 innings. But if you're Ole Miss, you have such a big lead right now. You don't really want to go to the bullpen if you don't have to any earlier on. Obviously, you don't want to tire Rollison out so much that he can't be available later on in the regional if you need him. But see if you can get him through a couple more innings. Strikes out King there.
No, we've seen Rollison do this several times today. Elevate a fastball kind of up in the zone and get a swing through. And again, you hear so much about the slider and how good it is, and that's a scouting report on Rollison. If you get that thought in the back of your mind as a hitter, obviously with the fastball that he does have, he can get it right by you. Yeah, you're kind of reaching that point now with Rollison that, you know, either you go get him out if you're going to try to maybe use him later on, which is doubtful because he's already at, 80 pitches. Or maybe actually even more than that. Yeah, just a shade over 80 pitches. So it's almost to the point now you just ride him as long as you can and probably get 100 out of him, 105, and he's done for the weekend.
Well, Rollison this inning, career high is 7 innings pitched.
Well, when you strike out a lot of guys, and if you look at the walk numbers, they're not great. I mean, he's 42 walks coming in and 9 innings pitched. And so when you get the strikeouts combined with a few walks, now the pitch count really gets up for Rollison sometimes.
Yep, Ryan has thrown 100 or more pitches 6 times this season. He's gone 7 innings 4 times. 8 Ks tonight for Rollison. Big swing and a miss from Reeser there. It's 1-2, 2 outs. There's Rollison's line right now. Reeser, an RBI double back in the first, popped out in the third. He's 1 for 2 today. It's going to take a mammoth comeback to come back and win this game, especially against a team that has the bullpen as Ole Miss does. Reeser lines that one into right field. Down for a base hit. Fletcher advances to third base. So Nick Reeser is 2 for 3 today.
Yeah, pretty good at bat by Reeser. Finally gets a ball he can handle kind of up out over the plate. Stayed inside of it and finds the barrel right over Adams' head. First and third now with 2 out for the Billikens.
Fortes out in front of home plate, exchanging some signals to his infield. What we're going to do if Reeser takes off. Corrella's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight. There's that off speed in there, strike 1. And that's the other thing too for Rollison. He's not afraid to come in at you with that first pitch and give you an off speed. Can't be sitting on a fastball.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter. And we've seen the slider better than what it is tonight, but it's been pretty good. There it is again. And if you talk to hitters that hit off of Rollinson, that's what they, a lot of hitters, of course, hit off spin. They see the spin of the ball. And they said the breaking ball for Rollinson, it's almost not recognizable. It's spinning so fast and so tight, it almost looks like a fastball spin. So you see fastball, you go to get it, and it's the breaking ball, and it's in the dirt.
Third strikeout against Gorella there. 9 strikeouts on the night for the left-hander Ryan Rollison. Ole Miss up 9-2. Oh, Swayze Field and the Ole Miss faithful having some fun, and why not? They're up 9-2. They're feeling it in the dugout. They're feeling it in the stands, out over the left field wall, in the right field wall, in the student section. Here was our game earlier. Chase Chambers, a home run over the right field wall, his 16th of the year, hoisting the WWE belt. Tennessee Tech would go on to win 6-4. As we take a look at our bracket here in Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss up pretty big, 9-2. When you look at it, the elimination game will be our first game tomorrow here Sunday at 1 Eastern. Missouri State has already clinched a spot in that one. The first pitch from Will Golson is flied out to left field. Good catch made there. Now the left fielder, Fletcher. That one looked pretty hard off the bat. Fletcher going back on it, making it look a little easy too, Ben.
Yeah, the ball really seems to be carrying. I mean, we've seen several balls here the last inning or two that you think is going to be caught 15, 20 feet from the wall, but that was a nice play by Fletcher. Had his arm out the field for the wall and caught it right up against the wall.
Tyler Keenan, a 2-run home run the last time he was up. Second of the day for Ole Miss. That was his 9th of the year, 1 for 2 with that 2-run shot. Grounds one foul up the first base line. We talk about the strikeout rate going up. The home run rate continues to fly. Quick regional note here. 62 home runs in 32 opening round games this year. Well, we got quite a few teams in our regional that can hit the ball over the fence. We saw Chase Chambers earlier on that Tennessee Tech team with 129 home runs on the year now. And, of course, Ole Miss, 2 home runs on the game so far.
Yeah, this is the time of the year the hitters really not only catch up, but I think get ahead of the pitchers a little bit for a lot of different reasons. One, the weather starts to warm up. The balls really jump across the country. 2, a lot of starting pitchers have accumulated those innings that we talk about, and the arm's just not quite as fresh as it was before. You can see some big crooked numbers go up, and we've seen that in a lot of the regionals. Who was it? Oklahoma and Mississippi State had a 20-10 game yesterday. It seemed like a football game.
Yeah, they were getting ready for football. Well, here you can make the argument that it's a bad football game. A couple of field goals and a safety.
Yeah.
Three balls, 2 strikes to Keenan. Connor Lehman still on the mound for the Billikens, just trying to hold Ole Miss. They have scored a run, at least one, in the past 3 frames. Payoff pitch, lined sharply down the first base line. It's stopped by Reeser. The flip to Lehman in time. Good block and stop there by Reeser. Just keep that ball in the infield, knocked it down well, and Lehman hustled over there for the out.
Yeah, that was a really good play. I mean, this ball was an absolute rocket off the bat. And how about that backhand? Not a backhand, forehand pick. Stayed with it, the easy flip over to the first pitcher covering first base. That saved the no doubt double.
Chase Cockrell's 1 for 2 today with a double and RBI. And with 2 outs, nobody aboard, swings and fans at a first pitch curveball from Lehman. The last effective 1-2-3 inning came in the first. There was still a walk and then a caught stealing. So this would effectively be a real 1-2-3 inning if Lehman can get Cockrell here. Other than that, it's been tough to get any of these Rebels out. And there is your 1-2-3 inning there put in by Lehman. Well, the Billikens coming up to bat. They're going to try to put something together, trailing by 7, heading to the 6th. And welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. It's been all Ole Miss over St. Louis here in the opening game for both of these teams in the Oxford Regional. 9-2 is our score as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Ryan Rollison has been having himself a day. He started to settle in a little bit after his first couple of innings, has fanned 9 batters through 5 innings trying to work a quality outing, Ben.
Yeah, he's mainly done it with that breaking ball and a fastball kind of up in the zone at times. We told you he could strike you out. Boy, he has done that today. Second most strikeouts in the SEC coming in. Got 9 strikeouts so far on the day.
There's a first pitch strike to Carter Hanford.
Yeah, still pumping that fastball here in the 6th inning. Still a low 90s fastball for the left-hander.
Now at 92 pitches for Rollison. Hanford is 0 for 2 today, has struck out twice. Gets a piece of that one, and it's 1-2. And the meat of this order, Jake Gorella and Carter Hanford have struck out a combined 5 times. Now that's your 4 batter and 5 slot batter.
Yeah, I mean, you're just not going to have a lot of success. I mean, you figure 15 outs have been made, 9 by strikeout. You know, and that's not putting a lot of pressure on defenses when you strike out a lot. Make it number 10.
Yeah, how about 10 on the day for Rollison?
Yeah, he's starting to rack him up, and you can see Fortes, the catcher, sets up around the inside corner, says, give it to me right here, and I mean perfectly placed. Can't do it a whole lot better than that. And Rollison finishing inside, both with the fastball and the breaking ball.
So now 6 of Rollison's 10 strikeouts have come against Gorella and Hanford, the cleanup spot and the number 5 hole for the Billikens. Here's James Morisano now, the catcher. He's 1 for 1 today with a walk and a single. Single back in the 2nd inning. It's a good location there from Rollison. He's been able to miss right around the zone. He hasn't really been too wild today, right, Ben?
No, he hadn't. And that's kind of been his story really all year long. I think the command's going to get better. The more he feels his body and starts to figure things out the next few years. But sometimes it takes a while. I mean, you go back and look at careers in the big league. Randy Johnson, I mean, look how many years, 4 or 5 years in the big leagues while his command wasn't great. Then all of a sudden, a light bulb goes on. Jamie Moyer was the same way, and Nolan Ryan going way back, you know, was the same way, really struggled with command. And Rollison's much better, more polished than all those guys were when they first got to the big leagues as far as throwing strikes. But what I'm saying is he's going to get better from here.
Chopped over towards short, backhanded stop by Kessinger, and there's 2 gone. And when you see guys like Rollison, whether you're coming from the left side or the right side, pitchers going into the minor leagues. Now, Rollison's a guy that's polished right now, but what do you see the biggest, disparaging between a guy like Rollison and a guy like a sheer power guy who's going to come into the minors and have to work his way up? You feel like Rollison's a guy that could be ready in a couple years, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, because the command is above average, you know, for his age and for his experience level. And really, you know, that's what you talk about. When you talk about big league pitchers, yeah, the stuff is good. But there's a lot of guys, as you know, because you call a lot of minor league baseball games, there's a lot of young players out there that has the same kind of stuff as big league pitchers have. What they don't have is command of that stuff. And I've always said there's a difference between throwing a strike and throwing a quality strike. And quality strikes get guys out. Strikes get hit hard.
That one not hit all that hard. Easy inning for Rollison. Continues to roll through this one, 9-2 Ole Miss. The road to Omaha is coming up. The ESPN networks will bring you every game on that road, starting with the regional coverage on ESPN2, ESPNU, Longhorn Network, the SEC Network, and ESPN3. Whip-around coverage also available through ESPN3 and the Bases Loaded channel. All games available on the ESPN app. Ole Miss and Ryan Rollison continue to roll 9-2 as Jacob Adams leads it off here in the bottom of the 6th. Adams 1 for 2 with that triple. That was Adams' first triple of the year, and coming in a big inning like that. That excited this crowd here, which is not only sold out, but over capacity.
Well, this is a special venue here. Swayze Field here in Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss.
Not too many fields like it. Over the years, there's been plenty of renovations to it. You see the single game record, 12,152. That may be broken here tonight. And if not tonight, at some point later on in this regional, you'd have to figure that record's going to be shattered.
Well, they've been the number 2 team in the country when it comes to attendance the last 2 or 3 years in college baseball. Matter of fact, the top 5 attendance figures, all 5 SEC schools. Ole Miss been number 2 in the country for a while. That's a good changeup by Laban right there. I tell you what, he's got a good one. He got a strikeout of Chase Cockrell on a breaking ball to end the 5th inning. This is another one of these circle changes. You can see the grip right there. Kind of turns it over and runs it down and away from Jacob Adams for the first out here in the 6th inning.
Ben, you played in stadiums like this your entire career, of course, with at LSU and then coming here. What makes playing here either difficult or fun?
Well, it's the environment and what it brings. And really, when I was playing in the SEC many years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of venues like this. I mean, what Ron Polk did at Mississippi State back in the mid-'80s with the, Thunder and Lightning and Rafael Palomero and Will Clark, and then, of course, Skip Bertman over LSU took the SEC to a whole different level, and people started realizing you can put fannies in the seats, and baseball is exciting. And now you got all the new venues going up, not only in the SEC but around the country, because baseball continues to grow. And Ole Miss has just created a special environment here, and they continue to add on. They got a big project going right now. You look around the SEC, I mean, Mississippi State's building a facility over there that's, going to be second to none. So our game continues to grow.
As baseball continues to grow, the attendance numbers continue to grow for Ole Miss. From 2015 to 2017, you said it, Ben, the Rebels ranked 2nd among D1 programs, averaging 8,028 in 2015, 8,619 in 2016, and 9,238 in 2017. That number has risen even more in 2018.
And why not? Look, you got what you put on the field. The product has been unreal this year for Ole Miss. It's talking about the winningest team in the SEC when it comes to total wins. One of the top winningest programs in the entire country.
Now the Rebels with more wins than any team in program history going into the NCAA tournament. They're 2 wins shy of the all-time at 48. You'd have to figure if they can hold on to this one, the bullpen they got, they have a 7-run lead. They'll be that much closer to achieving that goal, which in and of itself is pretty impressive when you're competing in, like you said, in the SEC.
Well, it's special, and, it was Ole Miss won the West this year. Actually, they tied Arkansas. Same amount of wins in the Western Division, but Ole Miss did beat Arkansas 2 out of 3.
Hard roller over towards short. King has it. He'll throw to short. To first for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down. Connor Lehman trying to work back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. Been impressed with the fastball. It's a low 90s upper 80s type fastball with a good changeup and a good knuckle curveball that he throws.
They'll have to get out this guy, Ryan Olenek. As you said, Ben, one of the toughest guys to get out. Not only SEC in the country, 364 batting average.
Yeah, much easier said than done when it comes to Olenek.
Look at that number, 13.9 at-bats per strikeout. That leads the SEC.
Yeah, one of the hardest guys in the whole country to strike out. And you wouldn't think that at 6'5", being as long as he is, you know?
That quick bat chokes up on it a little bit, too. He does have 3 home runs, 28 RBI, but he's a hit-to-contact kind of guy. And he lets his other guys down the lineup bring him in. Called strike 2 on the outside corner.
Well, he knows what he does well, and he really understands the strike zone. That's why you don't see a lot of strikeouts. He very seldom chases pitches. But it's also a frame, if you look at it from a professional standpoint. I mean, you try to put that 6'5" frame, and you say, okay, where's the body going to be 4 years from now when he's 24 years old? You could be looking at really a guy that could be a power hitter.
Grounded up the third base line. Backhanded stop by Hanford. Good scoop out of the dirt from Reeser. A good play, 5-3 on the putout. Back-to-back 1-2-3s. Ole Miss up 9-2. We take a look at our game summary here. It was all St. Louis early on. Ryan Rollison struggled a bit in those first 2 innings, but then Ole Miss offense absolutely erupted in the second inning. They hit for the cycle in that inning. 5 of their 9 hits have been for extra bases. They lead 9-2 right now. Ryan Rollison starting to settle in a bit. See the youngsters enjoying their time here at Swayze Field, and why not? Big hugs all around. Atmosphere has been great tonight. Rollison, 10 Ks on the night. His career high is 12. And we have seen him go 7 innings now 4 times this year. They're going to try to make it 5 here tonight.
Yeah, and he's approaching a career high or maybe a season high in pitches at 111. So they're stretching him out. Does have a little bit of action down in the bullpen for Ole Miss. You got to think this is going to be his last inning if he can navigate through it.
Hernandez 0 for 2 today, has struck out twice. Still got that velocity though, Ben. 92 up in the zone.
Yeah, and on the day it's been as humid and as hot as it is, that tells me a lot. The body's in good shape. He certainly projects as a starter at the next level. There's no doubt about that because the stuff hasn't fallen off much at all. Yeah.
Called strike 3, make it 11 on the night for Ryan Rollison.
We talk about that wipeout breaking ball, and boy, he's got it. And he continues to pile up the strikeouts. So he gets ahead with the fastball, then changes gears again with that hard, tight slider. And boy, it's fun when you're in the zone like he is right now.
Rollison has struck out 3 batters in this St. Louis lineup 3 times tonight. Gorella, Hanford, now Hernandez. There's a called strike 1 to Aaron Case, the number 9 batter and center fielder. Case had an RBI single back in the second inning. He's 1 for 2 tonight. And you talk about a lot of eyes on you, Ben. You had a lot of eyes on you when you were about to get drafted first overall. Rollison, a guy who's going to get drafted in the first round if everything goes according to plan. So many eyes on this guy, and when you have everybody watching what you're doing, I would think that, you know, whether you say you're not really thinking about it, as you see a lot of scouts here. I mean, you got to be thinking about it at the back of your head. Hey, I got a lot of people watching me in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. And it plays on your mind from time to time. But, you know, things are a little different now. You know, with Team USA baseball stuff and all the stuff that's out there now, kids are scouted a lot more. And Rollison, of course, was a guy, as you mentioned earlier, was drafted out of high school. So he got a little bit of taste of the scouts then. And so now when they show up to the ballpark, they already know the scouts are going to be here. So I'm not saying you get totally numb to it, but you understand it's part of the equation that goes into it now. And I don't know if he's changing any minds or moving up the draft board any, tonight, but certainly he is not falling down at all. He continues to rack up the strikeouts, and it's been impressive. That's just straight heat right by you. That one at 92 miles an hour.
Career tying 12 strikeouts for Ryan Rollison. And you see Tennessee Tech there, and watching Rollison, they won't most likely see him, but gotta be impressed with what you're watching there. Tennessee Tech sitting pretty, winning their first game 6-4 earlier today against Missouri State. So Tech will advance to the winners game that will be played tomorrow. The losers game will be the first game that we play here at Swayze Field at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be Missouri State and whoever goes on to lose this game. Rollison now at a career high 113 pitches.
Well, one strikeout away from a career high as well. What would be his 13th strikeout if he can pull it off? And you got to think this is going to be his last batter, probably last inning for sure. I think the scouts have seen exactly or enough of Ryan Rollison even before tonight. I think they're just making sure everything's on go. He's healthy and ready to be drafted in just a couple of days.
He's going to be drafted really high. He just struck out the side here. Career high 13 Ks for that man right there, Ryan Rollison. Here are those 3 Ks.
Yeah, boy, he's really been good. Goes out in style, probably his last inning, so he gets a breaking ball for the first strikeout. Fastball right by and then finishes it up with another breaking ball. 13 punch-outs on the night for Ryan Rollison.
Game on the road to Omaha, starting with regional coverage on ESPN2, ESPNU, Longhorn Network, the SEC Network, and ESPN3. Whip-around coverage is also available through ESPN3 and the Bases Loaded channel. All games are available on the ESPN app. Playing a little catch in the outfield right now. A couple of youngsters hoping to be on the field that Ole Miss is playing on right now someday. 9-2, Ole Miss up on St. Louis. Nick Fortes to start it off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Fortes, 2 hits on the day, both singles. Singled back in the 4th in his last at bat. Swayze faithful still very much into this game, although they're up 7 runs.
Oh, they don't miss a thing here. Well, they were amped up after the monsoon we got yesterday, about 5 inches of rain before any game was able to start, and the outfield looked like a lake. There were literally people swimming in the outfield, and so didn't play a game at all yesterday, so the Oxford Regional running a clear 1 day behind. But boy, a big tip of the hat to the grounds crew, because when we left yesterday to what we saw for game one, we came back. I mean, it looked like a totally different place. They did a wonderful job. Can't even tell there was a foot of water or so in the outfield.
MVP grounds crew right there.
There they are. They are definitely the MVP so far. You get this field as good as it looks and as playable as it is.
Ball 3 inside. Nick Fortes, as we said earlier, SEC tournament MVP. Fortes is the only Rebel not to score a run today, which is kind of amazing when you think about it. There's Rollison in the dugout right now, exchanging a big hug with Feigl, who's going to be on the mound probably tomorrow for this Rebel team.
Mm-hmm.
Fortes goes down swinging there.
Well, that's that knuckle curve again by Lehman, and I tell you what, he continues to impress. And since coming in, nothing but zeros on the scoreboard. Watch the downward bite on that pitch. We told you. About the Billikens, a strong pitching staff. 3 of the top starters, and they're going to, of course, if they lose this game, they're going to need all the depth they can. Get out of that pitching staff to find their way back into this tournament.
Lehman has retired 8 batters in a row. Has not given up a hit nor a base runner in his 3 1/3 innings of work. Big swing and a miss out in front. Dillard goes down on a knee. Max Chaffee in the pen. Number 29, right-hander. Most likely see him come out for the 8th inning for the Rebels. And the 2-1. They are giving home plate umpire Dan Payne quite a hard time, up 7 runs. They don't miss anything.
No, it could be 27-2. And that's how it would be.
Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Back-to-back Ks, one swinging, one looking for Lehman here in this inning. He's trying to work 3 consecutive 1-2-3s.
Well, he spotted his fastball on both sides of the plate, showing you a really good changeup. It's been swing and miss, and then the knuckle curve as well. It's got some good downward bite to it. He has silenced this Ole Miss offense for a couple innings now.
Two outs now. Cole Zabowski takes a called strike on the inside corner. Zabowski's only hit in the game was that 2-run home run back in the 2nd inning. Has popped out his last 2 times at the plate. Lehman in a rhythm. He's got an 0-2 count to Zabowski with 2 outs. Just got a piece of that one. There's the man of the night, Ryan Rollison.
Yep, that's a pretty good feeling right there. Your team up big and you pitched really well.
Just a bit outside. Lehman was about to walk off to his dugout there with the 3rd strikeout in a row, but Mr. Dan Payne says, back on the mound, sir. Same spot, same result.
And same walk towards the dugout by Lehman that wasn't called a strike. He's trying to get that outside corner with that changeup, and it's been a good one for him. Looks like breaking ball's coming now. Yep, there's a spike curve. You can see it in his glove.
Went around. Strike 3. Lehman strikes out the side. His 5th of the evening. 9-2 score. Now welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. All Ole Miss here tonight. Max Chofie on the mound to relieve Ryan Rollison, who had a stellar night. Chofie 6'4", 210, a freshman out of Chicago. And you see his numbers there, 13 appearances, a very respectable 2.14 ERA. Ben, you've seen Chofie this year. What are we going to expect from him?
Well, I mean, stuff's pretty good. If you talk to the coaching staff, you know, just a freshman Chofie, they think that he can really play a big role later on in his career, possibly a weekend rotation guy for Ole Miss. But the fastball's a good one. It's an upper 80s, low 90s type fastball. Breaking ball and a changeup to go with it.
They'll face Alex King, Nick Reeser, and Jake Gorella. St. Louis has not scored since the 2nd inning. They scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd. Other than that, it has been all Rebels. Big curveball there from Chofie.
Yeah, it's right over the top stuff, you know, and it's an upper 80s type fastball. Again, they're hoping just a freshman, he picks up a little more velocity. There's a rub of the head for good luck. Oh, good pitch. There's that breaking ball we talked about by the freshman. That's one of them ones, my friend, you could hang a worm on that. Hook. I mean, that's a perfect one right in the outside corner. Can't do it any better than that. Just a perfect 0-2 pitch.
The last 4 Billikens have struck out. Nick Reeser has really been the offense for this Billiken team. 2 for 3, a double, a single, an RBI. Responsible for 2 of the Billikens' 4 hits on the night. And fans that one there. Now, Ben, if you're the Billikens and you're head coach Darren Hendrickson, it's unlikely you come back in this game. Of course, still some baseball to be played. But you got to come back tomorrow in a quick turnaround in that elimination game and play a very tough Missouri State team.
Well, and that's when he hopes that his experience, again, 6 seniors in this lineup, that they can kind of regroup, kind of hit the reset button like he said, and kind of come out and play tomorrow. They know what's at stake. And, you know, chance of them coming back for this one is probably slim and none. But how fast can they regroup? And that's the thing about baseball. Baseball players have to have a short memory, and you hope that the Billikens have a short memory about this ball game.
2 up, 2 down for Chofie. Coach Hendrickson and the Billikens are going to have their work cut out for them. You talk about a short memory. You better have a real short memory. Go to sleep tonight. Forget about it.
Well, and I think the talk after the game is this. Listen, you know, our guy didn't throw his best game. We did not play defense behind him. We gave a team too many chances. And if we're going to make a comeback and make a deep run in this regional and win a few ball games here, we got to be a little bit cleaner on defense. And we got to go out and do our thing. I mean, he's got to be excited about the start. I mean, the start was outstanding. One run in the first, one run in the second, took the crowd right out of it. But then really an error to lead off the bottom of that inning. You know, some pitches left up in the zone, double play ball that wasn't turned, another error on a rundown situation, and all of a sudden that 6th spot went up, and it was pretty much over at that point.
0-2 to Reeser, low, ball 1. The Billikens, well, they've been to the NCAA regionals a couple of times before. They have now gone to the NCAA tournament 4 times since 2006, but they have not won a game in any of those previous 3 trips.
Yeah, and I think that should be in his message. Hey, let's be the first team that's done it in a long time. I don't know if we win this tournament, but you know what? We're going to win tomorrow. We're going to find a way to get that monkey off our back, and we're going to win a game in the NCAA tournament. And I think that's the message. You start small, you keep it small.
Just missing outside is Chofie.
Pretty good pitch by Chofie. Well, Fortes had rocked to the outside part of the plate and wanted it right on the outside corner. And watch this. See Fortes set up, says, give it to me right out here, and boom, there it is. About a ball off the outside corner, didn't get the call.
Payoff is low, ball 4. Now, that is the first base runner that the Billikens have had since a Nick Reeser single in the 5th inning.
Wow. This isn't a bad hitting club. I mean, you're talking about a club that was first in the Atlantic 10 in batting average, second in home runs with 56 runs per game, 6.8 runs per game average. That was first in the A10.
Hanford now takes ball 1 high. So that's the message for St. Louis. If you're Coach Bianco, what are you telling your team after winning 9-2? Because you also have to play a game tomorrow.
Hey, I'm happy the way we fought back. We got down early. Our guy wasn't sharp early, but you know what? We kept plugging away, and tip of the cap to Ryan Rollison. Big game for him. He fought his way back, got in his groove, and hey, proud of you guys. You took advantage of some situations. They gave you some extra outs, and we took advantage of it. And more importantly than that, when we got a pitch that we can handle, we handled it. We found the barrel almost every time. And so, but that's kind of been the thing for Ole Miss this year. I mean, 7 runs a game. We talked about it last year, what they did last year. Worst hitting team in the SEC. That's the reason why they missed postseason play. It's something they've been able to do all year long, and that's score runs. And all of a sudden you combine the run scoring with the pitching and the defense and the home run production that's going way up, and that's why you're looking at the number 4 overall national seed in the country.
1-2 pitch in the dirt, blocked by Fortes. Max Chofie trying to finish off Carter Hanford here. 2-2. High fly ball into center field, playable for Golson, going back now in front of the warning track, and he makes the catch for out number 3. Well, it's been all Ole Miss, 9-2. They are up as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Swayze Field. Well, for more coverage of the NCAA Division I Baseball Regionals and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. That is ncaa.com. Ole Miss faithful still right in this one. Youngster playing maybe a game on the phone right now to pass the time in between innings. I'm checking the ESPN app to see what else is going on around the other regionals. Alongside gold medal winner Ben McDonald, I'm Sam Ravitch. Thanks for joining us here this evening. All Ole Miss, 9-2. As Will Golson starts off the bottom of the 8th inning with a quick 0-2 count. Connor Lehman having quite an outing here in this one.
Boy, is he ever. And that's as good a breaking ball as you've seen in a while. The old spike curveball, knuckle curveball. Upper 80s fastball, low 90s at time to go with it. And boy, he's doing a good thing for the Billikens right now. I mean, if he can finish this game, just only use up 2 of their pitchers. Don't forget, they got 2 other real starters down there, and they're going to need all of them to make a deep run in this tournament.
Obviously, circumstances, considering everything that is going on, if this game, you didn't have that 6-run inning in the second, you bring in Lehman,
oh, yeah.
It's a different game.
A different ball game. You're right. But that's how fragile, postseason play is that, talk about being clean on defense and not giving extra opportunities. That's how fragile it is. And Ravino's probably going to go tomorrow, their number 2 starter. And, boy, has he been good for the Billikens this year. I mean, he's not allowed more than 2 earned runs in any one of his starts this year. That's how good he's been.
Called strike 3 on the outside corner. That is 6 strikeouts for Connor Lehman through 4 and a third innings.
Yeah, a couple of breaking balls to get ahead, and how about that? Just dots the outside corner with a 4-seam fastball for yet another strikeout.
4 Ks in a row for Lehman. Tyler Keenan now swings to the first pitch, pops it up into shallow left field. Going back is King, the shortstop. He reaches up and makes the catch for out number 2.
And as good as it's been for Mike Bianco's bunch, Ole Miss, I mean, I think that's going to be one of his messages after the game is, listen, I'm proud of the way you fought back. I'm proud of the big numbers you put up in the middle of the part of the game. But listen, we got to find a way to be more competitive, because we've not threatened at all in the 5th, 6th, 7th, or so far here in the 8th inning. Because every coach wants that consistent pressure on opposing defenses. May not score every inning, but at least you have guys on base. You threaten, you put runners in scoring position, you give yourself a chance.
Well, 13 batters have been retired in a row. Make it 14 now. Ole Miss hasn't had a base runner since the 4th inning, but they lead 9-2, up 7. 9-2. Ole 9-2, Ole Miss up here at Swayze Field. Opening game of the regional for both of these teams. It's been all Rebels. And the fans, as faithful as they are, need a good night's rest. We had a game rained out on Friday. They were back at it early this morning, some as early as 4:30 this morning, waiting outside the gates to get their seats. And the first pitch to Morisano is chopped over towards short. That's easy out number 1. As we take a look at our bracket, and as things stand right now, Ole Miss would advance to play Tennessee Tech in that game tomorrow at 5 Eastern time. And St. Louis would have to face a tough Missouri State team tomorrow at 1 Eastern time. That's going to be our first game here at Swayze Field tomorrow. There's Coach Braga getting ready for his team to face off against an offensively charged Ole Miss team. Well, they've been shut down by Connor Lehman as of late. One count to Cole Dubett. 0 for 2 with a walk, a run scored, a stolen base today. Curveball grounded foul up the third base line. All right, here's a sign in the Ole Miss dugout. Ben, can you walk us through a couple of what these things mean here?
Well, I see the QAB in the middle at the top. That's quality at bats. Season quality at bats. So they're keeping us through 62 games, 1,333 quality at bats. So it looks like a game kind of within the game that Ole Miss plays. It's probably a point system and a little game going on. That bottom one, that's you see Rolo, that's Rollinson, 3 big pitches. So I'm assuming those are big pitches in big situations. Get points for that. Looks like one of them may be getting ahead, first pitch strikes, which is always important for any pitcher to throw a first pitch strike.
I saw a little SC top 10 play there for maybe Dillard.
Yeah, maybe one of the best defensive plays of the game.
Ben Liversey now will pinch hit for St. Louis. Freshman out of Minnesota, 6 foot, 210 pounds, and the last hopes for St. Louis on what has been a tough night for the Billikens.
But at the end of the day, it's just a loss. I mean, it's the same as losing 1-0. It's just part of it. Can you go back with this veteran team and get a good night's sleep and hit that reset button and get ready to go tomorrow? Because I like the Billikens' chances, especially, you know, with the pitcher that they'll have on the mound. And Revenue, you know, he's a real deal. He's a real ace.
Crowd on their feet here at Swayze as Ole Miss is on the verge of taking game 1 in the regional and advancing to the winner's game tomorrow. What a game from that guy, Ryan Rollison. Impressive. Doesn't really go to explain it. 13 Ks for that man. Chofie closes it out. Ryan Rollison, his 10th win of the year. Miller Hogan picks up his 4th loss.